Alright, with any amount of luck, this will actually be my tool making competition entry. Assuming everything happens without my camera falling apart or me doing something silly, coughing my head off or something. So, my entry is going to be a tap wrench. One of the things that I've hated about tap wrenches has always been these crummy feeling handles from the, factory built tap wrenches. And a lot of, or basically everything that I've seen as far as the homemade tap wrenches are also, have these really crummy handles. So, here's another example of, tap wrench with a crummy handle. There's only one version of tap wrench out there that's commercially available that I actually like the looks of, and it's a gear wrench design. And it's a little bit expensive, but it's one of those things that if I were going to go for a tap wrench, that would probably be the direction I would go. But seeing as I have a mill and a lathe and all that other good stuff, it dawned on me, this is probably something that's rudimentary enough that I could build. So I kind of sat out coming up with designs and ideas and sketching them out and trying to figure out what I can and can't build, or as far as how complicated of something I can actually produce in the garage with my equipment and with my skills. So one of the first things I came up with was this. And while it's definitely effective, obviously it's not pretty, but it gets the job done. It taps holes. One of the things I really wanted to do was try and get into an aluminum body, something that I could, cut the weight down on considerably. So I started tinkering with ideas, and this one's just holds the tap in with set screws. Not a real great design. So then I started to kind of refine it a little bit and get my ideas sorted out a little bit better. And then I saw a video from Joe Pazinski that had he had gotten into deep drilling procedures, which that was pretty much the turning point there. Once I saw that video, it dawned on me that I could drill a hole, a small diameter hole, through a long piece of metal. So this is the actual design. This is my baby. So what we've got here is an all aluminum body. These are hardened or harder steel jaws. Currently I don't have any capacity to harden steel, so I just cut these out of a piece of steel that was already hardened, and luckily I was able to drill. That's about the only thing I could do short of using carbide tooling or the grinder, is I was able to barely drill into here for my quarter 28 all thread to get adhered into. And of course I had to give it a little bit of a brass accent, because just boring aluminum would be, well, just boring. So anyways, this is a piece of bronze that I had around that I've been trying to find a use for this entire time. And this was quite a treat to actually make just this part alone. I don't know how well it'll actually show up on the camera, but you can see the excuse me, the curvature here. So this is just a 1/4 inch slot that I put in it, and basically this little thumb wheel follows those exact same contours. The part that was the kicker was I actually tried to make this part here actually have that same curvature. Now, trying to do that on a mill with small parts like this for me was definitely interesting, to say the least, but I finally pretty much got there. I had to finish it out, with a little bit of file work and whatnot, but it worked, so I'm not complaining one little bit about it. It turned out pretty decent, and it's got decent grip capacity. So, in a nutshell, that is it. Oh, the other thing I was going to point out is the order of operations. I can't go, since I don't have all the fancy capabilities of the other guys, I'll just kind of run you through what I wound up doing to produce this. So I wound up starting off with a piece of aluminum plate. This is just a little bit thicker than 3/8 of an inch, and got everything marked out on it, all the holes, all the slots. Started out with, I believe it was a 1/2 inch hole here and here, 7/8 inch hole here, and then 3/8 inch slot here, 1/4 inch slot there. The trickier part then was mounting, assume that this is my rotary table, was mounting this on a rotary table so that I could get these arcs swung into it with a mill cutter. So that was interesting, to say the least. And if you look, here you can see that things didn't quite work out the way I wanted them to, but got those turned into it. Then was the trickier part, trying to get this 1/4 inch hole through the body here and here for the movable jaw. So what I wound up doing is, once I had all of this material removed, I was able to drill in here, and I actually wound up producing a guide out of, I believe it was it was just a bolt. One particular size of bolt, I can't remember which it was. The size of the head just happened to stick in this radius just perfectly. Drilled my 1/4 inch hole the rest of the way through that bolt, and was able to use it as a guide to finish out the rest of this hole. After that, I just made me a very tight-fitting piece of 1/4 inch material out of some scrap to fill that hole back in, and fortunately it looks like it's all but disappeared. And that's it. This is still kind of a prototype for me anyways, but I am really, really excited about this one. I love the way the handle feels. I haven't actually tried it yet. I just assembled it for the first time about 10 minutes before making this video, so oh, and as you can see, these edges are slightly radiused here. One of the guys had mentioned hitting it with a router, just a woodworking router with carbide bits, and give it a little bit of a radius. So after getting into machine tools, I had completely forgotten that aluminum could be worked with, woodworking tools. So anyways, I definitely gotta give a few thanks to some of the guys along the way as I was building this. A number of guys, brought up suggestions and whatnot, how to tackle this problem and tackle that problem. They were really, really super supportive, and I want to just, thanks to all those guys. You guys know who you are, so, and which is good, because I can't remember all the names at this point. I can barely remember what it is I want to say about this thing from one minute to the next, but I'll try and give you a quick close-up view of it. So at any rate, for better or worse, that is my 2020 tool making competition entry.